The finance world can be very complex. Even those at the top of this world believe that they do not know everything there is to know about it. They are often advocates for continued learning. The great news for many of us is that these people have written educational books so that we can all learn from their experiences, expertise, and lessons. Let's take a look at some of the biggest lessons that can be learned from these books. And please remember, nothing that I say in this video is considered financial advice. The first lesson is the power of compounding interest. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Benjamin Graham talks about what can be achieved through compounding interest in the book, The Intelligent Investor. Many people consider it to be the magic of the finance world. But what is this wonder called compound interest? We already know that interest is a percentage of a borrowed amount that gets charged on a regular basis. Compounding interest is when this charged amount is added to the principal amount and then the next period's interest is calculated with this payment still in mind. Still confused about what compound interest is? Let's take a look at an example. Let's say you borrow $500,000 to purchase an investment property and you agree to pay 6.5% monthly interest. Let's say for this example that you make no repayments in the first month. This means that after 1 month, your calculated interest is $32,500. This is what simple interest is. But we're talking about compound interest here, and this interest gets added in. Fast forward 1 month, and the 6.5% is now calculated off $532,500. Your calculated interest is now $34,612.50. In the space of 1 month, your interest is increased by $2,112.50. The following month, your interest is $36,862.31. Now, this example does not take into account repayments, but it demonstrates how powerful compound interest can be. The second half of Albert Einstein's earlier quote is that those who understand it, earn it. Those who don't, pay it. So, let's make sure we all aim to understand it. The next lesson we will look at is the power of owning a business to build wealth. One of the world's most famous investors, Warren Buffett, shows this in his biography. At the time of researching this video, Warren Buffett has a net worth of approximately $117 billion US. Now, this does not mean that he has this amount of money in his bank accounts. Rather, it is the ownership of companies he has grown, like Berkshire Hathaway and many others, that contributes to the majority of his wealth. We will cover time and money later in this video. However, a business allows us to leverage other people's time to grow wealth. Let's say that you are a sole trader working for yourself. After calculating costs and paying yourself, you can generate a profit of $30 per hour. Let's assume that you are someone who works hard and 10-hour day. This means that you are capable of generating $1,500 profit over a 5-day working week. Now let's expand your business. You hire a team of 4 people and train them up. They may not be as experienced as you, or having them on board may cost extra, so they can only generate $20 per hour each in profit. While each of them may be generating less profit, combined they are now generating $5,000 profit per week. People at the top of the finance world like Buffett and many others realize the power of this and build their wealth around businesses. Robert Kiyosaki highlights the importance of another lesson, cash flow, in his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki defines an asset as something that generates a positive cash flow. If we are investing money, we should be able to see a return. In business finance, there is a principle that states that cash flow is the only true source of value. There will be many times throughout our financial journeys that parts of your wealth may be paper only. But in order to maintain our day-to-day lives, cash flow is required. Say you want to purchase an investment property. As you are a disciplined person on a finance journey, you budgeted that you have $3,000 per month available. But let's say that your new property costs $50 per week to hold. Is this buffer within your risk profile to keep? Or what happens if the cost of holding this asset increases? You may not be able to hold the asset long enough to recognize the financial gains. Now suppose you have an investment property that generates you $50 per week. While $50 might not be much towards achieving your financial goals, you can hold this asset much longer to recognize more potential gains. You can also afford to hold more than one of these. This will generate higher levels of cash flow for you. While there are strategies that involve taking losses in certain areas, and you should always seek advice before determining if that strategy is right for you, the majority of us should be seeking cash flow positive investments, having our money work for us and not the other way around. Now, for many of us, when we begin our financial journeys, we often associate income with trading our time. We work and then we get paid. Tony Robbins talks about passive income in many of his books. Passive income is a great wealth building tool for us to utilize because you can continue to be paid long after the work has been completed. And income does not require you to have to be actively working towards it. You can be receiving an income while watching this video or even while you sleep. Each of us only have 24 hours in the day. No one person can work each of those 24 hours or every day in the year. This may seem similar to the earlier example of owning a business, but there are some differences. It is important that as we progress along our financial journeys, we learn to stop restricting our ability to generate income by linking it to time. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the average wage in Australia is approximately $94,000 per year. This requires you to trade 1,976 hours throughout the year. Now, there are plenty more hours available in the year, so getting more than one job is an option. But for most of us, we have financial goals in place that revolve us spending less time at work, not more. Let's look at what would happen if you were to create a passive income stream that generates you $4,000 per month. Even though this is only just over half of the wage that we spoke about, but we have not had to trade half of our hours to get it. If you were able to develop 2 of these income streams, we are not only receiving more than the average wage, but we are keeping our time. Research shows that the average millionaire has between 3 to 5 different income streams. If we had 5 different levels of passive income stream from our example, we would have a very healthy income while keeping all of our time. The last lesson from some of our readings that I want to cover today is about risk. Regardless of how hard we work to remove it, risk is always something that is present in our financial activities. In his book, Fooled by Randomness, Nassim Taleb discusses how risk is not something that should be avoided. He writes that risk often offers opportunities that are waiting to be taken by someone. This sentiment is backed up when we look at business finance. There is a principle that states that increased levels of return incur increased levels of risk. To a financially educated person on their journey, risk is often calculated and accounted prior to commencing the activity. There are many examples that can be used to demonstrate this lesson. However, the most powerful example is that of inaction. Many people may be able to relate to this example or know someone that this example describes. In this example, you have come into the ability to purchase an investment property. Due to many external variables such as interest rates, vacancy rates, or new laws, there is risk that this activity could result in a net loss. You let the risk dictate your actions and you pass on the opportunity to purchase the investment property. Instead, you leave your money in the bank account while you search for a no-risk opportunity. Now, while the variables we mentioned and many others pose real risk that should not be ignored, previous data shows us that the investment property would likely have been a successful one over a given period of time. Instead, in our example, you may receive enough interest on your deposit to reduce the levels of inflation. In order to achieve our financial journey goals, every one of us will need to take on risk at some point throughout our journey. But we do not gamble. We are financially educated. We assess risk, we attempt to reduce it, remove, mitigate, or transfer it. But we understand the opportunities that are available through this risk. Now that we have gone through some of these lessons from books from some of the financial world's top, we have not only increased our education, but we have added some books to our reading or rereading list. While this list is not a complete list, it is a good starting point for our continued learning throughout our financial journeys. If you have found this video helpful, please subscribe to Forever Finance so you will know the moment more helpful videos are uploaded. Please consider liking this video so it will reach more people with its help. If you have something that you would like to see us cover, please leave a comment below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we will see you all next time.